Hey guys, Chris here with Crisscross Crafts. You tired of your drill press looking like this even after just a few holes that you drill? So was I. So I built the ultimate drill press table, and it features the Microjig Matchfit Dovetail system. Everything is built around that. It is so awesome. It's got two vacuum ports for different types of dust collection depending on whether it's a small thin part or a big tall part. I got vacuum clamp system fences for both. It's got knobs to hold everything down, adjustable fence, adjustable flip stop, and it's got a circular disc insert plate that I can use, get all the way around, and then flip it over and use the other side. This thing is built to last and built to function and built to hold and be able to do everything you want. Because of the Microjig Matchfit system, this thing will rock your world, and all you do is use a simple clamp and a simple dovetail bit. You want to see how I made it? Hold tight. I will show you because you will want to see this. If you saw my video on my crosscut sled, the crosscut sled was inspired by my drill press table. So hold tight and I'll show you how things were done.
Alright, so let's get started. I laid out by drawing the bottom side of the table on a piece of plywood. Drilled it out with a counterbore bit and cut it out with my jigsaw. So far, so good. Yeah, do a little cleanup. Yep. Do a little quick test fit, make sure everything's running good, and it is perfect. Alright, now it's time to break out the Jasper circle jig. Right now I'm installing the pivot point in the middle using double-sided tape. I like the pivot in a lot of cases because I don't have to drill a pilot hole, which means I don't have to worry about that lining up. The pivot pin does everything for me, and so just using the router to make that circle. And I'm bringing that out so that I can make my through hole and my rabbet, because I do have to route through this to create a hole. And you'll find out in a moment, I did make a slight mistake.
Okay, so I went ahead and used the same basic setup. I just added 1 more inch to the scale so that I would cut the outside part of my insert. And that insert's going to prop right in there like that. Very, very snug. Just like it's supposed to be. Perfectly flush. The nice thing is I did use the Jasper pivot hole, which means I didn't have to drill a hole in the center like you normally do using circle jigs. How this works is essentially it's got double-sided tape on the back. I've already used mine, so I've ended up using the painter's tape trick with CA glue. You could also use the double-sided tape. Either way, the Jasper circle jig worked fantastic. I was able to cut my rabbet, able to cut my through hole, and able to cut my disc, all just by sliding the scale to the proper number. Worked perfectly, so let's get started, and I'll cut the grooves for the Matchfit Dovetail. Okay, so one of the cool features on this drill press table, other than the fact it's going to have that offset waist center that's going to be replaceable, is everything's going to have the Microjig Matchfit Dovetail system. So the fence will operate on it, the hold downs will operate on it. It's going to be really nice. How that basically works is you take a dovetail bit and it's got to be a 14 degree, and you essentially route in 3/8 of an inch. They offer one. I'm using the Klingspor dovetail bit here, the D14-55. So anyway, how that works is this slides in and out of this jig. Well, what this allows you to do is accommodate just about any type of material and lock that down super tight, super snug. So they offer not only the clamps, but they offer some little fixtures that go in there as well. So that's what's going to affix to this, and this allows me to slide this piece across the whole part. I can also do some on the bottom for affixing the top to the machine. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that yet, but for now, the top for sure is going to have it, the fence is going to have it, and it's going to make my life a lot easier being able to use these jigs in place of that. So hold tight, I'm going to get these this machine set up and get these grooves routed.
So let's switch over my manifold from the table saw to the router table. I love that dust collection manifold. Anyway, let's get those dovetail grooves routed. And you can see I'm really working away at that, getting all of those laid out perfectly. And I've made a little error, which you'll see in just a moment, in my layout. My intention was to do 2 on each side, 1 across the front and 1 across the back for the fence. And I also didn't mean to cut that piece all the way through. So there was a lot of errors on this, but I left it in here so you can see when you make a mistake how you can fix it. And here we go. How I fixed it was I basically repeated that. I added another piece on top, rerouted the holes, rerouted the grooves. I edged it with red oak. That way everything would be consistent, and then did it that way. And that was my original intention, but I got so excited and ahead of myself, I really messed up. So anyway, this is what it looks like after the fact. Alright, so let's run through the gauntlet here and let's show you all the features and give this thing a quick test. So here I'm just drilling a simple hole using the hold down clamp to hold the part down. You can get a close-up view there. I'll slide my flip stop in, and you can see all those little green buttons there. They're nothing more than some of the fixtures that Microjig offers as part of this system. Most of the fixtures have little tapers to them, so they wedge perfectly in those grooves, which is ideal. Some are just the fixture, some have little bolts coming up through them. Then you can use the little knobs to tighten up things as you need to. So they got a lot of versatility there. And I made my fence out of the ones that have the posts on them, and I'm using the through knobs to tighten that down. And so those 2 fixtures there, I made both of my fence assemblies the same way. So the low profile fits right on, as well as the taller profile with the bigger opening. And don't judge me because of my fence. They work, and I'll probably upgrade them to something a little nicer later. That was just sort of what I did on the fly to kind of fit the need, and they really work well. I was quite surprised. So get those snug back down, and you can see the flip stop's nothing but a scrap piece of wood with a little L piece mounted to it. So everything so far is just basic stuff, nothing fancy. But that's the beauty of this system. It works. So here's my insert, and you'll notice it is not centered. I have placed it about 1/3 off center, and that is on purpose. So as I make a cut into the waste material, I can spin that around, and I've always got fresh, clean material to use, and I can even flip it over and use the other side. And this is how I decided to fasten it. I did use the dado groove there with the dovetail bit, but instead of a clamp, I used their fixture pieces and 2 scrap blocks. Yes, I could have used the clamp, but I only have 4 at this point, and I wanted to use them elsewhere. So anyway, all I did with those blocks is use one of their fixture pieces and went through one that goes right up tight to the bottom of the table. I used another, and you can see that they barely just extend beyond that. And as I tighten that up, it wedges everything snug to the bottom of the table. Worked perfectly. Here's just a quick glimpse of some of the fixtures that I used. Got the clamp, some of those fixture pieces, nice little redneck flip stop. I even made an extension using the clamps. It gave me more support on the outfeed. Now I did something simple when I got my CNC. I built a spoil board. Well, at the time it wasn't working, so I drilled every single one of the holes, and each strip, all 12 of them, had multiple holes throughout the length, and each of those holes has 3 different size bits. So you're looking at probably 50 or 60 holes that I drilled, probably more. And I'll show you here in a moment what the table looks like after I drilled every one of those holes. Some with a 1/4 inch bit, some with a 5/16, and then some with a 1/2 inch Forstner. An empty table, no shavings. I love it. Here's a quick shot of that little close-up of how that works. You can see that lower profile creates perfect force to pull those shavings right into the vacuum. No shavings left behind.
Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If nothing else, I hope you enjoyed the build. Maybe it gave you some ideas to how to outfit your drill press table. Don't forget to go down and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And while you're down there, click that subscribe button and ding that bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I do future videos. I'm excited about what this table is going to do for my shop now and for different projects. It's going to allow me to really expand this and make the most of my drill press. So anyway, this is Chris with Crisscross Crafts. Till next time.
I had to put this in there. I got some shavings in my beard when I was doing some work and couldn't resist trying to shake it out in slow motion. It did not work.